Hey everybody. Sorry I didn't put up the whole little talky thing and everything. I didn't even think about it till just this second, and I don't think you thought about it at all either. So it's been kind of a week, y'all. How's y'all's week doing? Because I'm not overly thrilled with mine, to be quite honest. How about you?
No, it's been a rough week for sure, and it's only day 2.
Yeah, it feels like this should be a Friday and not a Tuesday.
Yeah.
For sure. So tell me how you guys are feeling. I see Donna from New York, and we are happy to be hanging out with you. And I thought we'd just kind of chat a little bit and just kind of, this is our Starch solution talk, but we can do it at 1. So we did it now, and I thought that would give us all the time we needed. But it did not. Hey, Ms. Crab. Awesome from Bangalore. I can't say that all the way, but I tried. But hey, Ms. Crab, that I can say. So we're doing our kind of normal little thing where we talk about what's going on with us, kind of how it applies to the starch solution. And I'm going to go backwards a little bit because earlier today, because this week and last week has not felt simple at all to me. My brain has been making everything complicated. Not really the starch solution. I feel like that's the only thing that's not complicated right now. And so I started thinking about all of your questions about the Dr. McDougall starch solution. And it just kind of came to me, what if it could be simple? Right? If you're like, oh, it's too hard, I can't go no oil. It's really hard this, it's really hard that. But what if it were simple? Mm-hmm. And as crazy pants as I am right now, because I'm trying to do all the things, and so are you.
Yeah.
And that just makes everything more and more and more and more stressful and piled up on top of each other. I mean, how do you feel?
I feel like the past 2 weeks I've had a 50-pound weight on my shoulders that I can't seem to shake. I'm not feeling great, not feeling happy, kind of depressed a little bit, and generally just kind of feeling down.
Do you know what that's about? Like, is it from me being cranky?
Part of it is from you,
and that's okay, right? That's what married thing is. So,
I mean, part of it's from you being really stressed out and cranky, and part of it's from work, because you know how I am when I don't have any control over a situation and something's not working right. And
neither one of us are very good at out of control situations, and so, oh, thanks, Boston Vegan Bean. And we're not trying to be downers. We're going to kind of talk through what we're going through, because I think the important part of this show is that you're not just saying, oh, look, Kathy and Cheryl are doing everything so perfectly, and they feel happy all the time, and they have energy. So if I was like that, I could lose some weight and be on the starch solution.
But, I go to food when I'm not at 100%. And this week, I feel like I've been eating too much. I've been eating on plan, but I've just been having like an extra meal that I don't need to be having, just out of just like freaked out food kind of situation.
But you're eating the right food. And we're also, because I'm working, so when I'm working really hard, sometimes I'm working on 5 projects. And for me, that means I didn't quite finish this, and 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 now we need to eat. So when I'm in that spiral, I don't always get hungry. I just get angry.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to pay attention
and luckily I've kind of since I've kind of gotten back in touch with being hungry from that conference, kind of messed me up for a week or 2, but I'm kind of back in sync on that.
Yeah, because we had salad and we didn't have time to actually cook for ourselves like we thought. So I'm kind of surprised but we're still recovering from our October vacation. So that's like 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah, and now
we're on week 4.
And it's making it really hard to look at it like a vacation for me because I kind of looking at it like this is the thing that triggered all the crazy and the stress and everything, because when we got back we had just all these things we needed to do and just deadlines and things, and I feel like that really, so it's making it hard to really like feel great about that trip now because
and
I'm associating everything that I've got kind of going on with me mentally is that's the trigger, but I know it's not really.
And so what we're doing right now that we haven't done before is we're kind of working through things with each other, with you guys, right? So that you're not just saying everything's magically happy and, oh, if only my life was like Cheryl and Kathy's. No, sometimes life is hard and sometimes it's irritating. And for a little while I was struggling with, oh, do we do a vacation? And we got an invitation to have Thanksgiving with a dear friend on the other side of the country. And I was like, I love you. I would love to see you, but there's absolutely no way I'm leaving my house until November.
It's too soon. We need to go see my mom and dad in December, and that may be a trip that I just make by myself because we've got so much going on.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing I was thinking is maybe we can talk about it a little more and talk about it with them. Maybe that's something we move to early January just to give ourselves enough space.
Yeah.
To get some things. And I think this is kind of why we didn't talk about that we were going to talk about all this stuff to start off with, but it's just like sitting with a dear friend when we're hanging out with you guys.
I mean, I feel like you guys are just in the kitchen with us and we're just having a conversation about what's been going on,
Right. And me and my overthinking stuff, like, so I was like, oh, I should make us dinner and then we can eat dinner and we can talk to everybody. I'm like, whoa, that's too much stuff. That's too much stuff. So again, we're kind of practicing in this thing. What if it were simple, right? What if it didn't have to be complicated? And I have some notes from Elizabeth Williams, who runs the Plant-Based Pod in Chapel Hill, to talk about with some of this too. This won't be our last what if it were simple talk, but let's just say hey to a few people and just know I come off happier when I'm on camera when I'm not happy. So I don't show you. I just can't. It's not that I'm trying to hide it, how irritated, but it's like now I'm here and I'm centered and I'm on this task, which is talking to you.
Yeah, it's like,
and it calms me right down. Like right before this, I was very frantic.
It's like night and day from the person I was talking to. What, 10 minutes ago?
Mm-hmm. And so sometimes for me, I just need to try and center myself. And that was one thing Dr. Lim had said is like, no matter what you think, something beyond yourself, and meditate, or he prays, or whatever you do. I'm not trying to push any kind of belief system on anyone ever. And sometimes it's taking a walk for me. And I didn't get to take a walk today because I got some stuff frozen on my arm, and then that went really fast, and I'm like, woo, I'm ahead of the game, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of how I felt, and then, and I kind of was. It's just I'm realizing all the little holes of things. Like I have a bundle for sale, and I haven't told you guys. I haven't put anything up about it, so I don't know how I think.
And it's been what?
It's been a week.
At least a week.
Yeah, it's been a week. And so I was trying to get that stuff together. And so I do have, for you, those of you in Kathy's Cooking Club, I have November and December classes scheduled in ThriveCart. You can go look at the dates. You'll get an email before the week's out. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday is the first class. But there's a lot of moving parts to what I do. And Cheryl's being a part of more of it. But there's a lot of little things we're trying to work out, right?
Yeah, and it sometimes it's really hard having a day job to try to incorporate all this stuff in, especially when it's a day that like all sorts of crazy things are happening, and you just I do support, so that's what I do. And sometimes I am just like on from the moment I wake up into the moment I go to bed.
And you can see she's off now. Like, I know you guys can see it. It's not that she's like about to like break down or anything. Just like when you're not on, this is what you look, just so for people who don't know that much.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really like,
you're just tired, a little cranky.
I just feel defeated, and it's funny that, even though I felt like I've been eating too much, every time I go to the refrigerator, thankfully, we only have stuff in there that is, compliant stuff, because I think this week of any week would be the week that I would totally go overboard.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that we did clean everything out, right? We have, and I think it is important, because whatever it is that kind of stresses you, to do things to comfort yourself in whatever way that may be. So it could be with food, it could be with alcohol, it could be with drugs, it could be with all kinds of things. It could be with reading or cross stitch or other things too. So there are good ways to soothe yourself that don't cause any issues, and there are bad ways to soothe yourself. But like, this is one of the ways we keep it simple.
Yep.
Whole bunch of potatoes cooked.
Thank goodness we have them, because I'm so off my game, y'all, that I didn't even make rice. Like, I made rice 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And then I ate the last little bit of rice that was left over for lunch, and I forgot completely to make more, because usually when I have the last bit of rice, then I turn around and I immediately make rice so that we have it for later in the fridge. But yeah, I mean, my brain is just like not firing on all cylinders, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Well, I think you're putting out a lot of fire. So I always have to, I'm always putting out a lot of fire. So I'm always doing videos, writing recipes, writing blog posts, doing emails, doing support stuff on, so I have like 70,000 things. And you have had much more things than you usually do. So I did a lot of what I was doing when I had a full-time job before I left. And I think you're just starting to see what all that really looks like a little bit too. But, the thing to remember too is that you just have to do the things that you have to do. And maybe we have to, like, there's some ground rules, like much like let's always have cooked potatoes, let's always have cooked rice. Or if we notice we don't have cooked rice, let's don't beat ourselves up about it and go, oh, it was really bad, I didn't make rice, because I don't want you to feel that way.
Well, I feel like I ruined dinner.
You totally didn't ruin dinner. No. I have 70,000 things that we can do, and we're going to talk about those too. So you didn't ruin dinner. And also, she brought up from downstairs another great thing, which is frozen cauliflower rice. Now, it's not enough starch, but we have potatoes, we have beans, we have other things we can put on top of that, so it will feel traditional yet have a lot of starch. And I know that I get really mad at myself when I haven't done all the things. And then when I'm already agitated and I come in here, like, that's a ground rule we have with keeping food in for the starch solution, because that does make it simple. If I'm hungry and all I have to do is cut this potato into wedges and put it in the air fryer, and then maybe put some, I could get some other leftover vegetables, or we could get some frozen vegetables and cook those up. That's winning. That's what winning looks like. And if I have salsa, I have marinara sauce that I made on Chef AJ, so we could turn it. I purposefully made these beans with just some garlic and some vegetable bouillon, so I could turn them into Mexican beans, Italian beans, Greek beans, whatever kind of beans we need. And I think that that's very helpful. Like, for me, I think one of the things I need to do to keep things simple is to say certain things like, the counter has to stay ready for videos. Because one of the things, if I rush over here because I was doing something till last minute, then I'm like, oh, here's 15 minutes worth of things I didn't think about. Because to me, I left the counter clean. And there's probably some other little spaces for you that we could do the same thing with. But I want you guys to know that it's totally doable even when life is unpleasant.
That's true.
Or things are busy. Like, I don't feel like we really haven't done anything hard. Like, I didn't bake a cake. We didn't get donuts. We haven't even had a Ninja Creamy pint in a while, just because it's chilly at night and hot during the day right now, which is really, really weird. Yeah. So I'm going to go through some of this. So just so you guys see, if you feel the energy a little different, you know what's going on.
I mean, I feel like probably the worst thing that we've done is had popcorn like several nights in a row.
We did have popcorn like 3 nights in a row. We make it in the microwave air popper, and I think I've shown you guys this before. Yeah, right. I don't have the top on it, but you can kind of see. It's really nice because it's glass. And then what we're doing, it has, I think it's 1/3 of a cup of popcorn in the top. It's a silicone top on here.
It's in the dishwasher.
Nah, they can figure that out. My hand looks just like it. And then we put 2 tablespoons, 2 to 3.
Last time I used 3.
3 tablespoons of pickle juice. For our friends not in the U.S., what that means is the jar of dill pickles, we take 3 scoops from that. So there is salt in it, so if you're SOS free, that may not work for you.
I have been trying to eat the pickles every time I do that because I realized that at some point we're going to have a bunch of pickles with the pickle juice.
That's hilarious.
So I always eat a couple pickles while it's popping.
Oh, you should bring me one. I love pickles.
Okay.
But right now, obviously, we're not SOS free, so we're having the pickles and stuff. So Donna says hi, Miss Crab. Raw Chef Yen is here at 6 a.m. in Malaysia. More power to you for being organized and up that early. Barbara says it's been tough here too. All work has stopped on my home. Very distressing. I'm very sorry about that. And hey, Doris. And Davinka says, getting off daylight savings time is a challenge. It's dark outside.
Yep.
And I think
that might have set us off a little bit.
Subconsciously, because my brain sees it getting, I work outside usually till it's dark, if I can be outside. And by working outside, I've got my computer and I'm sitting on the deck doing all the things. And it does make me feel more rushed, like I've lost something. A little bit.
We already were feeling like we didn't have enough time in the day to do the things that we needed to do, and then with it getting dark faster, I think that just kind of like drives that home to your brain, to your subconscious, that you really don't have enough time in the day to get done what you need to do because now it's dark.
Yeah, so. And I was in a different meeting earlier today, a mastermind that I'm in. And someone was saying that they were really feeling the seasonal affective stuff kicking in, and I wasn't even considering that, really. And Jane's haven't had a super hectic week. And Barbara says she feels you, Cheryl. And it's Davinka says it's difficult to hear, but here's the thing. Again, she's not ruined anything. She's not. I think what she's feeling is that maybe she feels like she ate too many. I don't know that you've eaten too much, honestly, because we're not. I feel like instead of seconds at dinner, you've just waited a little bit longer and had, your steamed rice and steamed vegetables.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So I want to be real clear as people are hearing this. Not because it wouldn't be okay if she did have something that was off plan, but that we would tell you. I think she's feeling really guilty about something she doesn't need to feel guilty about at this point.
Well, I just feel like, where I was comfortable eating, a couple times a day, 2 or 3 times a day, and I feel like I feel like the past week I've been eating 4 times a day.
But you haven't, because you've been eating oatmeal at like lunchtime, at noon or after. Like today, I didn't eat my oatmeal until almost 2 o'clock. That's happened 3 or 4 days in a row. So that, I know some people intermittent fast and that works, but I think that I'm passing and not paying attention to, I think my hunger sign is not, ooh, my stomach going, hello, eat. It's like I get a little more irritable. I get more discombobulated easily. And once that starts, then I get frustrated, and I don't deal with frustration well, because I just, don't be frustrated, just do things, is what my brain says. And then there's just too many things. Like there are very few tasks right now I can do one small piece of it and have a completion or have a win. So everything's just open. And so it's kind of like having too many tabs open in my brain. And finally, my brain just explodes. And so other people are saying things like that. And Rebecca says, I hope you'll be gentle and compassionate with you, Cheryl. And
I'm trying.
I agree with that too. And I think that's another reason why I kind of just wanted to talk about some of this too. And Diana says, you're shrinking there, gals. Can you do an update on your average daily eating and drinking? Meaning, do you drink brewed iced tea? I drink tea sometimes. I think there's
more apt to drink it. If it's cold in the morning, we might have a tea.
Hot tea.
And then sometimes we might have something before we go to bed too, like a hot tea.
Herbal tea.
I typically just drink water. I like ice water, so that's what I typically drink. I mean, if something else is there and it's convenient, sometimes I will.
You like a good tomato juice a couple times a week.
I do love tomato juice.
It's pretty salty, so it's not really for the SOS people. But
I haven't had it in a while.
I was talking to Marilyn today because I'm going to do a dehydrator class coming up, and she's like the dehydrator queen. And one of the things she was talking about was tomato powder. Is from tomato powder you can make tomato paste, tomato sauce, and tomato juice. So we might try that and see if it may or may not be what you like, because you're very particular, but it'd be very interesting to see. But what I'm thinking,
it's me. Okay. I think I had it down too low.
Oh, okay. So I feel like mine's not down low enough. I feel like I keep getting into the red. I will drink unsweet iced tea. So I usually make Earl Grey tea in the morning. And right now I'm having caffeine. It depends on how anxious or not I might be, or if my sleep is being affected. So for 2 years, I did caffeine like once every other week. But I'm doing much better with it these days. And so I will go ahead and then I'll brew a whole big pot. And then the rest I'll drink over ice. And sometimes I'll even do half water, half tea. Just to have that flavor is kind of nice. It's a big treat for me. And you like that when I do that for you sometimes too.
I also like when you say, hey, do you want a drink? And you fix it. I don't have to. That's why I drink so much water.
Because I'm not fixing you a drink.
I just don't like, I like them if they're made for me, but I don't necessarily like to do it myself.
And that makes sense. I'm like that with popcorn. If you don't,
if I don't make it, you're not
if you don't make it, I won't eat it. So it's very interesting. Elizabeth's saying hunger fullness cues are so important. Clues is what she said. I just made up what I said too. And it is. And I think when we get in the busyness of our minds, it's like, when I'm up in here, and I see it when you have problems at work, you're up in here and then nothing else connects. And we have more trouble communicating too. So, and especially if I've been on the computer, so I'm all up in my head and you've been doing computer stuff, that's when we miscommunicate the most.
Well, and lately it just seems like the past 2 weeks we've been really having a hard time. We keep missing that connection point. a lot.
I think some of it too, though, is that we're not really going to do something fun together. Like, and I'm not talking about like a big giant thing, but just like going for a walk or going to the farmer's market, little things that we said we were going to do that we felt too overwhelmed to do.
Yeah.
And I think that we're making not the best choices with that.
And I feel like, I just feel like the past week and a half, everything has just been a chore. Everything just feels not fun, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, and that's okay, because I mean, seasonal affective disorder is very real.
I don't think it's ever affected me like this though before.
No, but I think it depends on where you are. Like, I feel like this Halloween, usually, even when we're alone on Halloween, it's usually like super exciting for us. And we just sort of went through it. I pulled up that energy after my nap and made us a really nice dinner. But it still kind of feels like to me that like Halloween was a little wah-wah.
Yeah, Halloween was kind of a bummer.
And it's not that we needed to go to a party or we needed to do something else. It's just we weren't as present.
Yeah, we didn't enjoy it like we normally do, and I blame Costco on that.
Was that the day we went?
That was the day we went to Costco.
That was rough. It was like we went Saturday at prime time, but it was like a Wednesday or Tuesday. It was Tuesday last
at like
week.
10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it was not nice, and so it just sucked all my energy dry. And
people were rude.
Well, yeah, it's Costco. I don't know what it is. Go on Facebook. Somebody's got something nasty to say. Go into Costco. Someone will hit you with a cart. I get hit with a cart more times in Costco than in any other store combined for my entire life.
And they're like, on a mission.
Yeah, they're just fast. And I'm like, you're in North Carolina. Just slow down a little bit there, buddy. But I don't know if I said, Mary Ellen said, time changing Halloween gets me every fall, trying to get back on track. Marilyn says, hello from Grayland, Washington. Take care and thanks for being so real. Yeah, Trish, I think I agree with you. It's not just your opinion. I think it's our opinion too. We're just trying to like hide from it.
It made the days of us being able to do business trips and thinking of them as vacations may be over.
Yeah, and it used to work so well. Yeah. I think we've had to over the past couple of years. Like there was the pandemic and we didn't do anything, and then I did two. I did one thing and we did another thing together.
Yeah, and
that was a lot. But we managed through it. In El Paso we had a good time, but we were with Caleb, my grandbaby, not my soul grandbaby.
He's not the real.
But he makes everything fun, and we got to spend a good amount of time with him when we were in Massachusetts too, and Doc, both people who
they relax us
and just make us happy. And I think one of the things we really have to do is two things, and one of them I don't want to do at all. We just sit and kind of prioritize our chore list for the house, and maybe even the chore a video list, but especially the chore list. So we just have it there. We know what's going to go, and it's not that we have to hold it all in our heads, because that's what's making it hard for me. Because I feel like I'm holding everything in my head. I'm getting that female thing.
Well, I feel like every time I say, okay, like I'll have it in my head and plan that like this weekend I'm doing X. And then all that gets turned topsy-turvy, and that never happens. And I can't like figure out why everything just keeps going topsy-turvy for us, because we'll both be like, okay, we're going to do boop, boop, boop. And then none of that happens because everything just like gets crazy.
Some of it is both of us are crazy pants about how long something's going to take us. Like we have no earthly idea.
We don't have a good concept of time, I don't.
No, sometimes in our year, there are times that we do, and then there are times that we don't. And we're also trying to do a lot of decluttering projects. We're like changing the rooms up and doing some of that. And those are the things that we're not getting to.
Yeah, and it's starting to like really overwhelm us because, you know, we really expected by this time that we would have a whole nother space in the house that we could go to
for coziness, like
to watch TV and hang with the animals and you know, the Pelotons down there.
And so it's just like everybody else, you know, there's the house stuff, there's the cooking stuff, there's the shopping stuff, there's the work stuff, there's the how you feeling stuff, how's your body doing?
Yeah.
What's hard about changing anything, right? So, and I know some of you guys can really identify with at least some piece of this, or even if it's, oh, I used to feel like that, then I did this.
On a positive note, though, now that I'm thinking, because I was in my head, I was getting ready to say every time we do a project around this house, it turns out to be a bigger deal than it was originally expected to be, because we run into like old equipment, or we run into something that breaks and has to be replaced, or like it's just always something. And then I got a win last weekend when I changed that tank.
So Cheryl changed out the reverse osmosis tank, which has been lovely for me, and actually I've gained at least a few hours a week from that, because it was coming out so slow to like fill up a 4-cup measuring cup. It would take like 5 times. So like it was crazy.
20 minutes.
But then you said it lost all the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure was gone.
So there's always little things like that too. So I'm going to look. Jane saying, I've been trying to cram too many things into the months of October and November because it's finally cool enough to be outside. I'm tired.
That's how I feel. I'm just tired.
And you know what? I think that's really good. And thank you for sharing that with us. It's because I'm really tired. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that I'm unhappy necessarily, but I'm tired and I'm overwhelmed. And I think I need to be giving myself more time for rest instead of just scheduling everything up so much. Because I think, oh, and I saw a cartoon on Facebook or a meme, and it was like, being an adult is just going, oh, I'm going to have so much time once I finish this. And I think that's what I've been telling myself in my head. Oh, just finish that ad and get that up there and do this. Okay, I got that done. Oh, crap. Now I have to put it 17 places, right? And so sometimes, and the more frustrated I get, the more I see all of those pieces of the task, if that makes sense. So like if I was going to make dinner now, I'm not thinking I'm going to cut the potatoes. I'm going to put them in the air fryer. I'm going to take these beans and put them in a skillet with this, that, and it's a bunch of seasonings. And then I'm going to check on those, then go back. But like the more frustrated I am, the more all of those details become a checkbox instead of just a part of doing something. Mm-hmm. And that's when I start feeling really, really overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Does that happen to you at all?
Oh yeah. And then also, like, when you start to get overwhelmed, then it kind of oozes over to me, and then I need to fix this kicks in, and then I can't fix it, and then I get frustrated, right?
Yeah.
My desire to fix it and just make it go away just.
My favorite story about that is, so sometimes I just need to be left alone, and I'm at the age that I can go, it's a good idea just to leave me alone for the next hour or two. And when we were first together, literally, so Cheryl would not normally be in the kitchen. She would literally see me walk to the refrigerator, open up the refrigerator. Can I help you get anything out? And I knew she was being sweet, but she got the warning, and I knew that I wasn't able to have that kind of communication, and I needed some space, which meant so we just got a thing where I'd be like, you can't be in the kitchen for this period of time. And I do the same thing to you too. You get upset and then I want to fix things. Mm-hmm. So usually I try to fix things instead of trying to help you do the thing you're doing. I try to just like make dinner for you or make you a drink or make something. I try to think of what can I do to make your life a little easier, something else you don't have to think about, and then lunch magically appears for you. And you do a lot of stuff too. You do a lot of great. So like you freshened up my water before we started here I noticed that, in case you didn't think I did. So Boston says sharing these difficult days with us makes this live even better. We're not alone with struggles. No, and I think whenever you're feeling that way, and I'm a very feeling person, so it was hard when I worked in an office because I speak my feelings, and that's how I make recipes and smell stuff. It's all this, I can literally feel in my body when I've set up a photo where it's going to work. Or like Cheryl and I, if we're trying to arrange a room, usually we just, that one's yours, this one's mine, and then we can come in and give some impact because in her mind, she rearranges everything and puts things this way. I go in and the chair tells me if it likes being there or not. I can't do that in my head because that would be like if I just said, I'm going to move you over there, right? So to me, it's this whole process. And it's interesting because as we've gone that and we've let someone start, and then we go in with the idea that it's okay if some things change, right?
Yeah.
But like our bedroom is arranged in a way you would have never arranged it. Or like sometimes she'll be like, no, there's no way that can fit in there. And I'm like, it's telling me it wants to be over there. Only I say, no, I think it can, because I don't want to sound crazy pants. But I'm like, no, the chair is here. It wants to be there. I don't know why. And so
I just go with it.
But most of the time it works out pretty well.
And also, I don't think you're way more invested about how a room makes you feel than I am. I'm just like, however you want, it's fine with me because I'm really not that invested in it.
Well, you are invested in a lot of the tchotchkes and things being decorated a certain way, and I make room for that. I really do. And so, and like if we're picking out sheets or a comforter, those are things we would pick out together. Like if I find a cool Halloween shower curtain,
I would do everything plaid. She's like, absolutely not, no plaid in the
house. Right. And that's just it is about compromise. But the thing is most of the things we agree on. And we like cool, weird, funky things. And we like our little weird clear story window.
Well, what I like,
house.
I like the fact that you're okay with like putting up like just super bizarre things, like having out like tiki mugs.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of tiki mugs, and we have a whole like 3 shelves of this cool Halloween pottery that we collect.
Super weird artwork, right?
Yeah, we have an artist we really like. So yeah, and I think that's important too. We touch on those important things like like you found that cool metal piece of artwork that we have above the bed that actually makes everything feel cozy and safe. And that's why I love this artist, because she's weird and quirky and super cute at the same time. And it really makes it feel nice. And so yesterday I was not feeling like I had like a nice, cozy, safe space to go to. Part of it's because everything's blown up from where we went away for so long. So I put away a bunch of stuff.
I haven't even completely unpacked my suitcase. I realized this morning I was looking for a sweatshirt, and I was like, where's that sweatshirt? And I was looking all over the place, and then I realized that I haven't even unpacked my suitcase.
Yeah. So it's just, it is what it is, but I move things around. We change the sheets, we wash the blankets, and then it felt a little bit better. Tonight I'm probably going to finish up, because that's the easiest room. That was the easiest room, and that's what if you get frustrated or have a lot of things feeling out of control, if you're feeling some seasonal affective disorder, maybe if you could start, if you have a craft project that you could start and finish really easy, or there's a task on your list, because I really like those. I finished Dopamines. Like they work really well for me. And yeah, talking about things being busy and just sometimes everything doesn't go as planned. Davika says, Kathy and Cheryl, life is a journey. We become aware of the things which give us the opportunity to become aware, and then we have the opportunity to let it go. And that's very true. And Mary Ellen feels the same way. Yeah, exactly. I love this. It's an opportunity to let go of false beliefs that we believe to be true. And kind of going on the little class, the 3-day class, which pushed me to my brain because that was too much peopling. I thought I was taking this class that would just be like a Zoom class so I could be in and out, but I had to be there for 8 hours, 3 days in a row. And that was just like going out and peopling at a conference again, I think.
I think it was too soon after the conference to have the conference happen all over again.
It was. And that was my mistake. And I didn't ask enough questions about it. It was great. And don't get me wrong, I learned a lot, but it drained me because it was very small and it was very interactive, and you couldn't just turn off your camera and just go away take a little nap and come back like I thought it was going to be. And I think one of the things, and this was mentioned in my mastermind too, is that maybe you can't do all the things you used to be able to do. And that could be, can be when you were younger, before the pandemic. I found that the pandemic was a big shift, and we noticed even when we went to Disney. When we went to Disney last year, and we did one Disney thing. We went to, what is the place called now? The shopping area.
Disney
Springs once. But really, we spent 3 days mostly in the hotel room, and we got takeout and brought it to the hotel room because we stayed at Animal Kingdom, and the credit card gave me a discount, so we splurged, and we were at the safari balcony. And I was like, this is great.
We just spent hours sitting on that balcony watching giraffes and zebras,
like snacking, and it was very interesting. And also, just in case anybody's wondering, they take really good care of the animals. There are a lot of vegans that feel good about it, and if you don't, that's okay. Don't go there. It's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to. That's not a hill I want to die on. I just want my laundry put away today, right? So, Whole Food Plant-Based Princess is here. I haven't seen you in a little while. That's awesome. Hey, Miss Rachel. Yeah, you can make rice whenever. Yeah. Exactly. And actually, she started it while we were on here. But the way you felt like, oh, I've messed everything up. I didn't make rice. Sometimes I feel like that. Oh, I've messed everything up. I haven't planned dinner. And as long as you got potatoes, you got some beans cooked, have some rice if you can. And another thing, what we should, and I will say that word, even though it's not a nice word. One thing I want to do is probably a better way to put it is freeze some of that rice. Because then when we go, oops, we messed up. Mm-hmm. Oh, just grab the rice from the freezer. Get our emergency rice, right? And then we don't have to think about it. Mm-hmm. So again, what if it were simple?
We could also break down and buy some of those packs of rice that I probably should have bought when I was going to buy them last week.
Yeah, it just kind of hurts me because they're very expensive. These pre-cooked rice in the little cups, I know a lot of people use them, and I'm not saying anything about it, but it hurts me that it costs so much, and then we have a lot of waste from it.
Well, we could just get a couple, just so that we have a couple emergency backup.
Or we could just freeze some.
We don't need
in
to
a
buy
stasher
a
bag
case
that I
of
have.
Everything.
It depends on where we see it. If we're at Costco, you got to buy a case. And Mary Ellen says, I think seasonal change has an effect and drags us down.
Yes.
Oh, and Tracy does potatoes cooked and in the fridge. It works perfectly. Absolutely. Oh, you're so sweet, Elizabeth. We're really fine. We're just being real.
Yeah.
Because right before this, we weren't fine.
Mm-mm.
And so sometimes it's just her and I sitting and talking through some of it that makes it better. Sometimes it's hanging out with a friend like y'all. Yeah, having prepared potatoes or other starch, sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa, pasta, and we do have some things down in the freezer. We could if I was just
this came out of the freezer.
Yeah, we've got some refried beans because I made some salsa and I'm really feeling like I want something Mexican-y.
That sounds great.
And I could show you guys. I made some scarlet runner beans, so they're huge. Do you see how they're huge? That's a huge bean.
They look really good.
Put one in your mouth.
They're cold.
I'm not dying from it. So
I like cold food.
They're good. And what I like about runner beans is they're real big and very toothsome. And so they're very starchy, actually.
I don't like them cold.
Okay. You don't have to eat them cold anymore. It's okay. And Apple's giving us some hearts. Apple's awesome. And, oh, you guys don't have to do that. I'm not putting that up on the screen. Good suggestions. Yes, a date night with your frozen Indian food. And actually, she did try.
I tried to bring up the Indian food.
I was not happy.
That was not what she asked for.
It was not what I asked for. I said, can you get some refried beans? See if there's any refried beans or chili in the freezer. And she came back with Indian food. And I was like, and it's not that anything was wrong with it. And we ate it yesterday. That's actually what we did have for dinner yesterday, was some of the first seed foods. And I'm very excited because we're getting another shipment. And when we made the videos, we weren't an affiliate. Now we're affiliate. So just so you guys know. But we've eaten it 3 times and we still have enough for one more meal.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I was
bringing Who knows, up. Maybe we will eat it.
We have the rice pilaf and then a chana masala and then that Todd something. I don't know, but I think we should just go for it.
Okay.
But if you want to eat,
I gave in. It's fine. I gave in.
Okay. We'll see.
Don't give me enough rope to hang myself.
We'll see. Now I'm like sitting here staring at the beans. So.
I was thinking we could do crisp up the potatoes and then have Mexican stuff all piled on top of it.
And use your salsa.
Use the salsa. But I'm okay either way. Yeah. All right. Aren't you guys glad you're in this exciting conversation with us? You're like, woohoo! It's real life with Kathy and Cheryl. Oh, that's awesome. I love the fact that I learned something every video. That's great. But Mary Ellen, you're good with that. Miss Crab says, love watching how you two do things to make each other comfortable. And we do the best we can. And when I'm frustrated, I can't help anybody. I can't help myself. I can't help anybody else.
Nope.
But typically over the year, I don't get frustrated that much. If I'm overtired and overworking, I will get more frustrated.
Oh, but and when you do, you can spiral to a super negative place really fast.
And I can laugh about it now because I'm not in that place. But yes, I can, because that's when the voices, I think it's Apple that used to do, is it called internal family systems? And I was talking to Lisa Rice, who's going to be on Thursday, about that too. And because she's seeing a therapist who does that. And it's the one who pulls up my little guy, who I think of as Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob is not a nice man, but he is trying to protect you. But he is not saying the nice things. And that's what he goes, you're choking. Are you stupid? Do you not know how to eat? So Uncle Bob just comes out in full force. You are just an idiot. You should be able to do all these things. So
filled yours up and didn't fill mine up.
Oh, well, here, I'll share with you.
It's okay. I got enough in there.
My mug's cooler.
Yeah, your mug is cooler.
So, and this literally is how when we get all spatty, not just a little bickery, we go beyond to spatty, but it's still not fighting, then we have to have this transitional period. Yeah, and we can be our own worst critics. And one of the things Dr. Lim said to me, and I think I've said this before, is that he said, I want you to love on the part of you you want to cut out. And it's Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob needs to go back to his house. But what I've been trying to do is realize Uncle Bob just lives here now. And perhaps I need to find a way that we can work together. And so I was even kind of thinking about this the other day about, okay, if Uncle Bob was a real human being, at this point I would set up some ground rules. Like, you can disagree with me, but you can't use these words. You can be angry, but you can't do this. Now, I think it's going to take a long time for Uncle Bob to budge. But before, I just was like, Uncle Bob is horrible. I'm not going to talk to Uncle Bob.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you we haven't talked about this either, but I'm trying. But it's still the first place, if I'm tired and frustrated, is that I feel like a failure. Mm-hmm. And not just a failure at like whatever one thing I was doing. I'm a failure at all of being a human. Mm-hmm. And so...
And it comes with a lot of external chatter instead of internal chatter.
Yeah.
You bring it out externally.
And then I burst into tears or sobbing. Yeah. Which I'm not much of a crier. There's been a lot of crying the past few months. And I don't like it. It's okay for you guys to cry and stuff like that, but it's not this like, oh, I'm getting this out and getting over it. It's more of this burst of frustration until then I can't even talk or make words. And so, but anyhow, it goes away and then we move on with our lives.
Yeah.
So let's see. Ms. Krabs says, on a business trip and hard to eat SOS free. I love how you're able to stick with it. And it can be, and just for everybody who's watching too, we do Dr. McDougall's Starch Solution, because one of the things is we think it's easy to pick one diet. Listen to one doctor while you're starting out. Once you know all the things, go for it. Once you're like, you've released any weight or gained weight that you've needed and your health is better, listen to all the voices that you want. But for us, it was having one answer. Not what does Dr. Greger say about this and what does Dr. McDougall say about this and Dr. Estelstein and Dr. Fetterman. I don't want to have a consensus right now. Mm-hmm. Also, we do 90 to 95% starch solution. And that doesn't mean we do 10% fried chicken. Everything's vegan. We don't do fried food typically. Like if we do, we'll have a piece of pakora off a buffet or something like that. We try to really limit it and not do it very often. Most of the things that we do that we feel are off our plan, which may not always be exactly starch solutions. So we're not eating a lot of dry carbs or bread.
Right.
When we traveled, we ate a lot of bread because that kept us more compliant than not. Bread is compliant, but bread can slow your weight loss. Mm-hmm. And our goal or at least my goal, I think your goal too for October, was just not to gain weight.
Yes.
With all the traveling and stuff like that. Yeah. And we obtained that. So just for those of you who want to know, and when I talked to Chef AJ about it, she's like, because I said what I wanted some of my goals to be that I just don't want to release yet today, being in the mood that I'm in. Because that's only going to cause me more problems. And I said over the holidays, and she's like, sometimes it's just great if your goal over the holidays is just not to gain weight. Or just not, and I was like, that's an option.
It is an
right?
option.
And I wanted to point that out to you guys too. So if you're traveling, if something is going on in your life, it's okay to put some things on pause. Now, there's always the caveat. Those of you on Dr. Esselstyn's diet, so that you don't have a like triple heart bypass, your mileage may vary. You may have to be on that strict, but most of us are like, if you're trying to lose some weight, it's okay if you lose a half a pound instead of 1 pound this week. It's okay. And sometimes your body's going to take different, like some weeks I'm like, that's made up. I did not lose that much weight. We've both had that, right? And then we'll be like, that's made up. I lost more weight than that. So we don't have a good sense. And that's why we use the scale, just to kind of give us a little bit. And someone's saying, do you put the pickle juice in when you pop the popcorn or after, with the actual unpopped kernels in here, like you would if it was oil? So we're using it as an oil replacement, might be a better way to put. Hey, Miss Kathy, it's good to see you here. Yeah, Elizabeth, it is important to not beat ourselves up. And if you are like me and you cannot help yourself sometimes, it's also equally important to forgive yourself for doing it. And that is also not always easy for me. You look like you want to say something and you're trying not to.
I was going to say, you're going to remember this in 30 minutes.
It depends. You putting anything on my counter? This is the hill I will die on.
She can die on that hill because it was her stuff I put on the counter because I didn't know where she wanted her spice kit stuff.
Not on my counter before I have to do a live. And I know it's funny. The thing is most of the things that we get super amped up about are ridiculous once you calm down a little bit. Because I was really mean. I said one really mean thing, but it was like, I said, Cheryl, can you see if there's any refried beans or chili? And she's like, where? And I was like, I said, where do you think? Where do you think? And then not about it, because I was like, that would only be in the freezer. Like, I literally have a list on the fridge about stuff that's in the fridge. So if she could look there. And then there's, you could have looked in the pantry, I guess, but I don't think we have anything. If you brought me something for the pantry, I would have just taken it. I would have.
Because we probably have refried beans in there, but they're probably not.
Well, there are. You can get some without oil, and honestly, you can make some refried beans just from a can of beans. Here's my secret tip, because I was thinking what I should do is, and I'm going to probably do this through the next couple months, is do some dinners that we do, and I just take a can of beans and I turn it into something else. So you can take a can of beans, strain out most of the aquafaba, mash them up with a potato masher as much as you want, or a fork, put some chili powder, some onion powder, garlic powder. You could even put in some green chilies, some roasted garlic, and you have magic refried beans that cost you half the price at least. Mm-hmm. Like some refried beans and chili right now is like $3.50, and that's crazy. You can buy like two or 3 pounds of beans for that. Oh, you're so sweet. And Davika says it's a challenge to manage work, home, and everything in our lives, and it sure is. Yeah. Oh, Elizabeth sets alarms for everything, and I love that.
Mm-hmm. I wish that alarms worked for me.
Yeah.
I just, after a while, I get used to the sound, and so because it's very easy for me to just ignore it.
And I hear everything, like literally everything. Like there's, yeah. So Apple's saying I'm wanting a bit more food this past week too. I think it's an evolutionary cue that we're moving into winter, and I need to put on some more put some more calories away. Started making a bean soup to snack on, and I think that's true.
I think you mentioned that to me last week when I was complaining. You said, I think it's because it's colder.
It also, so like, I think it was it Halloween or the day before Halloween? It dropped 30 or 35 degrees. So over the weekend, it was in the 80s. And then it dropped. And as soon as I get that big 30-degree drop, I want to eat more. And it's the past few days, it's been like between 72 and 75 degrees. And it's dropping down to like 45 degrees. And I think that's a big clue. My body's like, what's in there to eat? I want something hearty. So that's a great idea, Apple.
My mic's still messed up.
I don't know. Say something.
Try putting it over here.
Well, it's showing that something's happening.
Hello? 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 Maybe not picking up as good as yours, huh?
I've got mine far away, but I project a little more than you do.
I am.
Here, I got you.
Maybe I should put it up here.
That was not on purpose. I was trying. Like that.
I think that's going to be too far away. Don't you think that's too far away?
Yeah, we're looking at the proof that it's not too far away.
Okay, you guys have to let me know if this sounds better or not.
Okay. All right, so I think we're like way behind. Oh, someone was saying change sides with your mic. Okay. Oh, hey, Mona's safely home. Look at us getting some therapy. We're getting therapized. What's a small win for the both of you that you could do right now? And that's probably be on this live.
Yeah, this is actually...
This is it. Just to hang out with you guys for a little bit, to take some time out, let our brains clear. Because I think we just clutter, and then letting some of that go, and then you get back in that right space. Mm-hmm. So usually it's when she's having those days, I don't. And when I have those days, she doesn't. The past couple of months, they have collided. Mm-hmm. And that makes it much harder because it's, when you're in the middle of your stuff, it's a little harder sometimes to be super compassionate and even super aware of what's going on with someone else.
Well, and I think I've said before, like, you and I talked about this, but I don't think we talked about it online, is that I tend to lose empathy when I get stressed out. So, and then she tends to need more reassuring. And so if we're doing this at the same time, it's bad because I just become like this rock that doesn't care about anything. And then she's like, I just need you to pay attention to me for a minute. And
usually, like, I'm an only child and an introvert. Like, I can be alone for a really long time without any issues. But also, that happens to me when I'm in that frustrated mind. And Uncle Bob is too loud. I don't hear anything except I'm yelling at Uncle Bob in my head. And so then I talk to you, and then I'm like, mm-hmm. Right? Because it's like...
because you yell at me.
Yeah. And so I think that's the way we do it.
But I don't think you realize you're yelling. I think sometimes you don't realize what tone you're using.
No, it's coming out in the only tone I have. Mm-hmm. Just like right now, this is coming out in the only tone I have right now. So to me, it feels from the inside very similar. Mm-hmm. Hey, Hadron, how are you doing? Let's see. Oh, Delia's from Albuquerque. I'm tired too. I like that. Okay. You guys are just so sweet. I just want to snuggle all of you. Oh, and Linda says, I love that you're mentioning acts of service. That's my top love language. And I think in a lot of ways it's mine. Mm-hmm. Like when you do something super thoughtful for me, it means a lot. Mm-hmm. I think that's how I speak it out too.
I think so too.
It's like we have this new blanket on the bed that moves. I don't know how her side moves and mine doesn't, and I'm not stealing it.
That's because it's the dog.
So it could be the dog. It could be the dog.
The dog is like, he hogs the covers in the middle of the night.
But so every night I go down before her and I straighten it out so we both start with the same amount of covers. And to me, that means way more than it does to you, but it's like, I do it every night and it means this thing. Oh, Raven, of course. Raven says, I'm glad I'm not the only crazy pants that feels the energy flow of things and where they want to be, like intuitive feng shui, right? I hesitate to think that mine's elevated as feng shui, but sometimes you just know. Oh, hey, David. I'm glad that you're hanging out with us.
I'm going to just start, like, when I'm working downstairs, I'm just going to start bringing things and say, where does this say it wants to be? Because it's telling me it wants to be in a dumpster.
Depends on I might be like, yep. No, we're giving a lot of stuff away. A lot. There's a lot of clutter in the house, a lot of things going. I was going to start a store, so there's a lot. She's done a lot of work. And so I want to be real clear about that too. Oh, you're so cute, Diana. I haven't been in a week. It seems like it anyhow. I have Kathy and Cheryl withdrawals.
Well, we have a new person up there above Apple. Did you say hi?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah, I said, hey. Well, I put it up. Hey, David. iCast Enterprises. Oh, hey, some Ecamm fam in the house. My honey-do list is so long. If I live till it's finished and start today, I can do 2 a day and I'll be 105 before I'm allowed to pass on.
Nice.
I feel you. I totally do. And the crazy time changes don't help either. Mm-hmm. Gina says it's Taco Tuesday, and maybe that's why I'm wanting chili and refried beans.
We have those little.
We've got some little mini there's street tacos. So basically they're baby tortillas and they're so cute. And there was a really fancy Mexican restaurant we used to go to and spend too much money on. They give you the little baby street tacos. So now it feels like dress up dinner for us. Mm-hmm. I know, right? Those are scarlet runner beans. So sometimes people eat the pod. So if you have a home garden and you grow these like long pot beans, they have scarlet flowers. That's why they're scarlet runner beans. But they are big old meaty beans. Mm. Diana says, I've been hooked on roasting potatoes and keeping them in the fridge. Roast Brussels sprouts. Yeah, I'm kind of in a Brussels sprout mood.
I like the Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, Chef Lynn, have a lovely morning walk. And truth is the key to being real. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a temptation, and this is one reason we wanted to share our Starch Solution journey with everyone, is that I think you can go on YouTube now and you'll see a lot of people have done the Starch Solution, tailored it to suit their bodies and purposes, and you only see the end result. You don't see the in-betweens. You don't see the struggles necessarily. Mm-hmm. And you might think you're the only person who has them. And no, you're human. We all have the human things. Ooh, Kitty Mama says Rancho Gordo beans on the way. Second installment. She's in the bean club. And these are Rancho Gordo beans. They have the scarlet runner beans, the black runner beans.
They have the best beans, just hands down.
They're so good.
I never met a bean I didn't like. So I'm very happy that you have the bean club.
Yeah, it's really fun to do. And so I was feeling kind of poopy, so I was like, I will soak some scarlet runner beans. We haven't had them in years. Mm-hmm. Oh, look, Apple, I'm sorry to put you to work. I know you're not. Uncle Bob serves the function. Definitely set up ground rules. Ask him to step back. Let him know you can handle the situation. Apple, you're just the best. I don't know if I tell you enough, but I just think you are magic. Magic personified. Mm-hmm. And I am so thankful for you and all that you do for me in this channel, really, and just being yourself. And someone else said Uncle Bob may need to be nurtured. We may have to work on that a little while. Mm-hmm. I'd just be glad if we don't yell all the time. There's therapist talk going on. I love this. I'll read it later. And Diane says, I really appreciate you both keeping it real. Awesome. Oh, Kathy's here. I missed you today because I had to go to the doctor. I had a little thing removed off my arm. I don't even think you guys can see it. So they put liquid nitrogen on it now because it was precancerous, which evidently means nothing, except it wasn't a normal cell and it wasn't a cancerous cell.
It had the potential.
Yeah, but they say precancerous, but that doesn't mean it would turn. They literally said it's precancerous, but that doesn't mean it would turn into cancer.
Right.
So I find that strange, but I make recipes. I don't do things. So it was exciting.
And then they got the second one up there now.
Yeah, and there was another little one, and so they plopped that.
That's weird now.
Yeah.
So does that just fall off?
I guess we'll find out.
Okay.
We will tell you when we're not cooking, though, I promise. But no, it just basically didn't hurt that bad or anything. They didn't give me a sedative. I had no idea what I was looking into, but that's why I missed our meeting. And Kathy says she can relate to being overwhelmed and struggling for self-care. And she's awesome. We got to meet up with her. And Mona says, definitely my goal for the holidays. And I suspect that was the goal of not gaining any weight. But I could be wrong. Tell me if I just put words in your mouth. And Susan says, I find if I eat a lot of bread, it affects my mood negatively for a long time. And I think some people do have allergies. They're not celiacs. And like I have a joint that will swell if I eat too much gluten. And sometimes it's just some things don't affect you quite the way. Apple was gone when I said all the nice things.
She'll probably rewatch it.
Hopefully she will. If not, I'll tell her another time too. Yeah, I love that goal seems less stressful and more attainable during the holidays. Absolutely. And we do lose weight at different rates and we can't compare. And one of the things we've been talking about a lot with Lisa Rice, is just, that I think there's a tendency in the whole food plant-based community to compare body types on both sides. So if it's going, oh, Chef AJ's too skinny, which she's not. Chef AJ is Chef AJ, and Chef AJ's weight is not in my lane. Mm-hmm. Right? So let's be real clear what I mean by that. And you can say, I would like to lose a little weight. You don't have to add anybody's name into it. But I don't want to look like Kathy. Right? Or you can just say where you are and just let it be about you, and that's okay. And so I think a lot of times we end up comparing ourselves both negatively and trying to make ourselves feel better to other people, but I don't think it really works in the end. Dog Mom says, you guys look great. Curious, is sourdough bread on the menu? I would like to learn how to make it. Don't know if it's on the plan, probably not. If you make whole wheat or whole grain sourdough, it would be considered on the main plan. If you're trying to lose weight, flours are things that are more processed, digest faster and more easily, so therefore they're easier to gain and turn into fat. That's my 10-cent tour of that. So it just depends on what your goals are. Like if you have a health goal, it might not be a problem at all. Hedron said, I fell off the wagon majorly during my epic project in October, slowly relaxing and getting back on the plan. And
projects do that.
Yeah. And what I love in this, and what I think Stacy would love in this and other people, slowly relaxing and getting back on the plan. If something goes wrong, if you're like, oh my gosh, my body wants to eat all the things and I ate the whole 20-pound bag of potatoes. You just wake up the next day and eat your oatmeal. Start today the way today starts. Though I can't imagine anyone could eat 20 pounds of potatoes, but I bet somebody could.
That would be rough.
It would be hard. So just know I wasn't insinuating that you should. That's not 20 pounds.
No,
but they're
just probably
5 pounds, maybe?
Almost 5 pounds, maybe.
Maybe. I would not win at the fair. So. And this is literally, you guys are seeing us kind of warm back up and get into our normal selves, just the way it happens in regular life, right?
Yeah.
Davinka prepared 2 soups yesterday. And exactly, Dr. McDougall would say, if you're hungry, eat.
Yeah.
110%. He is also going to, by eat, he means eat the real foods. Don't eat processed foods. Don't eat heavily processed foods. So we're not, can you eat rolled oats on Dr. McDougall? Yes. Can you eat pasta on Dr. McDougall? Yes. Mm-hmm. You know, if you only eat those things, will you lose weight on the starch solution? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on your body. Oh, good. Oh, Apple's back. So maybe you did hear all the good things that I said about you. That would. Aw, hi, Willow. Thank you so much. That's just so kind. Organic Silver Moon Designs, which is a very snazzy name, by the way. Because it just made it, was late working. So dark, so early, right? Yeah. And Cheryl is hilarious, Delia. And Brenda said, oh, Brenda, I haven't seen you in a while. I'm so jealous of y'all in the Bean Club membership. I totally missed out on the weight loss list is so long now. I did have a friend who just got in this year. So just get on the list anyhow.
Yep.
Because time will go. Let's see. And Delia said, getting processed foods out of my diet has helped me with my moods. And I would say that too.
Like, but in general, yeah. Yeah, I think so in general.
Because you're not really doing that whole high-low thing. Like,
you're not having like your super crazy sugar dips.
No. Like, so, I could eat some sugar and then literally just sit there and just fall right asleep.
Well, sometimes you eat it and then you'd be like, crack. Then you'd be all wound up.
And cranky.
And then all of a sudden,
cranky
crash. So
it happens. That's funny. Colleen says, thank you for saying that. It's hard to get back to it when I've had a day or two or three of less than stellar days. And the one thing that you can guarantee yourself is that you can choose to eat better at your next meal.
Yep.
So no matter what's happened, cut your losses and move forward. Mm-hmm. You can come back and analyze it when you're in a better headspace. So like when we're in the middle of our vacation and feeling panicky and stuff like that, we don't go, oh, should we have had this? Like in our normal life, like we've talked about going to the Indian buffet and how we'll go. We like, what's the thing when you have after the game? Is there a name for that little show? Like there's the pre-show, there's the game, and then they talk about all the moves.
Post-game.
That's it. Post-game. So we do our little post-game there. But if it's an emotional, heated thing, we wait. Mm-hmm. Because that's when the blame and stuff like that's going to happen. I think that both of us tend to feel really bad if we feel like we've helped the other one eat something they shouldn't have eaten, and they feel bad about it.
Mm. Yeah.
Because I know you've done that. You had chosen to go to a place that we weren't necessarily going to go to, and you were more upset that I ate something off plan than you were that you ate something off plan.
Yeah.
And so things like that, we'll wait a little while, then we'll discuss it. Mm-hmm. You know, because of course it wasn't her fault. I was like, yeah, let's go there. So that's me. What I ate when I was there too, we could go someplace that's on plan or not on plan, and I could still choose to pick something on plan.
You remember that one time we had to go to that Mexican place over by Sprouts because we went to Sprouts hungry, and then we were both getting super cranky, but we did really good.
We did really good. And actually, now that you mentioned it, and now that it's Taco Tuesday, I'm like, I want to split that burrito again.
That burrito was amazing,
so good, and we weren't doing and we haven't kind of re-implemented all the rules we've been keeping. When we're at home, we've been eating really, really good, and really not even any bread. We've been having bread if we go out or something.
We had bread when we went to the Ren Fair because we made sandwiches for the car. That was the last time we had bread.
And I only ate half of my sandwich. Yeah. But we had corn and a pickle.
We had the big corn.
And we had these expensive sauteed mushrooms.
You can ask them to not put butter on it. They look at you really, really weird, and they go, "Are you sure you don't want anything on it?" And we're like, "Yeah, just give us the corn." They're like, "Okay."
Right?
And the four of us were like,
yeah, oh, it was so good because it's like roasted over a fire. I'm like, because we tried to, I actually emailed the Ren Fair and said, what's vegan?
Yeah.
So that we could decide, okay, is this something we want to be in our 10% or if it's something else? So it's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I want to, because we haven't had bread in a long time, so I wouldn't feel bad about having that tortilla. And the tortilla, it's because it's a flour tortilla. There's some smaller ones you can get at Trader Joe's that are made with almond flour. Because it's made with almond flour, it's higher in fat. Mm-hmm. However, there's no oil in them. So anything that, and the bread that we get to have in the house that we don't even eat that often doesn't have oil in it. But if we went out, we would be okay with literally we got a vegetable burrito with basically beans, rice, vegetables, no cheese, no sour cream, none of that stuff. And we just split it.
No, and they weren't even like, we were just like, can we get that without this and without that? And then they were just like, yeah, sure.
And then they had elote, which is like corn that usually has mayonnaise and cheese and a lot of other things. So, and I was feeling a little bit shy. I'm the one that asks all the questions in person, and you're the one who asks all the questions on the phone.
I was like, I want corn. And so I'll always eat corn on the cob. If you got corn on the cob, I'm eating it. And so I just went up to the counter and I was like, you've got the street corn stuff. I said, on the cob, I said, can I just get corn with nothing on it? And she was like, you just want corn with nothing on it? And I was like, corn with nothing on it. 2 of them. Just corn with nothing on it. And she was like, are you sure you don't want anything on it? And I was like, you don't want any butter? Nope, no butter. She goes, you don't want, and I said, nope. I said, I'll take a little lime if you got it. And she was like, okay. And
so good with lime.
So they gave me 2 pieces of corn on a stick, and they were completely plain. And then they gave me some sliced up limes, and we just took the limes and we rubbed them all over the corn, and it was delicious.
And that's what we do when we roast our corn. We were going to roast some corn, and then the corn, it wasn't good, and that didn't help my mood either.
Yeah,
so corn on the cob, it's just so delicious, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Kathy's saying it's great advice, choosing to do better at the next meal. And I don't know if it's so much advice as it's just survival and mindset change just ever so slightly, because and I will say this, and I will tell you, I've not been doing a good job at the same time. You have a choice when things happen. You can choose to kind of go, okay, I'm going to reset. How can I do this better? Or you can choose to kind of just blame yourself and beat yourself up. Sometimes it doesn't feel like a choice for me. Maybe it doesn't all the time for you. But what I try to do is put that it's a choice, and then even if I'm spiraling down into this bad place, eventually I'll come back to where I can talk to myself about, okay, you did that, so what are we going to do next? And so I think it's just the way to know that it's maintainable. And what I want you guys to get from today too is the eating part is in general simple. It's all of our crazy lives that are hard.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what I see in the comments a lot of times when we're doing Starch Solution Lives is everyone's like, can I have this? Can I have that? Can I have this? Or someone saying this kind of sweet potatoes have more sugar than that sweet potatoes. And we make it very complicated, our brains. And Dr. McDougall, I just heard him live on Sunday, was pretty much like, if all you eat is baked potato and some green beans every meal for the rest of your life, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that if you may not have some special medical condition where maybe you do have to check for, certain things, vitamins, minerals, protein, something or other. So I'm not trying to discount you and your special situation. So maybe you have to do potatoes, some tofu and carrots and green beans, right? It's still going to be pretty simple.
Yeah.
And I like to cook a lot of times, and I like to make spice blends and sauces, and I feel like the sauce I made for our Halloween meal was fantabulous.
That was really good.
And it was pretty much just pears and aquafaba and apple cider vinegar and some herbs. It was like nothing blended up together.
Yeah, it was so good.
And so I do like to have special sauces and things like that, but you don't have to have them. You know, even when we traveled, we had some balsamic vinegars. We had a few spice blends.
Oh, we had the bacon bitty stuff.
And so I don't know if they're, I got this on sale at, and this probably isn't SOS. It is vegan.
It's probably got a lot of salt in it.
Oh, it's definitely got salt in it.
Oh, it doesn't have that much salt at all.
Well, it's a 1/4 teaspoon.
Oh, well, maybe that is.
But it has salt. Salt is the second ingredient. Salt, yeast extract. It's got, it doesn't have any sugar. I thought it was going to have sugar in it. But I'm going to be making another blend of that. So we got that to bring for a potato or corn or anything else we wanted to put it on.
I've been putting it on green beans.
It's really yummy. And so here, if you're struggling, it's okay to put something like that on as well. I know different professionals have different opinions on that, and whoever you're following, I support you in following what they're saying. I like one of the reasons I find Dr. McDougall and the starch solution so easy is like you can have a little bit of sugar, you can have a little bit of salt, and to make the food palatable and to make it easier to eat. And the more you eat this way, the story goes, the less you want those things. But I still love a little salt on my rice. Like sometimes I'll just eat rice with just a little bit of salt, and it's just, I like it better than I used to like popcorn. And I used to like popcorn a lot. Like, our popcorn is okay now. I like the really bad for you popcorn.
Yeah, we haven't had any really bad for you popcorn since we started the McDougall stuff. So that's one thing that I'm proud of us for not, just going, oh, well, let's just have one little thing of it. We put all that stuff away. We put all that stuff away. Like, it's in the cabinet. She can't even reach where it's at. Right? So nobody's going to be busting out that popcorn maker anytime soon.
Well, and it's even that popcorn, what got me, because like before the pandemic, we had like a movie pass. So we would go there and we would have popcorn dinner once a week. And I would eat a lot of popcorn. It's horrible for you. It's just full of horrible, horrible stuff. The movie theater popcorn. So, and it is absolutely,
isn't it,
pulls me in. It's got palm oil. It's like worse.
Yeah. Isn't it like just like the average size popcorn thing is like over 1,000 calories at the movie theater or something like that?
And
and we would mow through the big tub. Like, we'd go through 2 of them. Yeah.
So let's move on from shaming ourselves and what we used to do to, have we ever had Korean corn on the cob? It's in the frozen section. No, but we have an H Mart. So we'll put that on our list. Betsy said, I love all the ideas that come from these streams. This is such a great source of comfort for me. Thank you. You guys are a great source of comfort to us.
Yeah.
And I want you guys
to feel better.
Yeah.
I feel better already.
See, it's like, it's such a great community, and you guys bring so much to the table. And we really, really appreciate you guys. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
This Organic Silver Moon Design says, I remember when there wasn't much else but tofu in the day, but hey, I still love tofu. So many things you can do with it. I make my own corn chips, no salt, eat lots of salsa that I make myself.
I don't know what you're saying.
I love bad popcorn. Yeah. And so, like, no, we eat tofu.
Yeah,
so I love tofu. And in fact, I use it in a lot of different ways.
I love that she makes her own
corn chips.
That's
And we've been taking those thin credibles that Chef AJ told us about, and that is also, that's kind of, you've been craving that since I've made salsa.
Yeah.
So we have lots of dinner ideas. So we're going to probably have to go soon. Because we need to eat before I get cranky again. And we just decranked me. It took an hour and a half.
It took an hour and a half to decrank me.
We don't need to go backwards. And yeah, bad popcorn is really delicious. Oh, thank you. And we're going to be on Vegan Knowledge JJ this coming Monday.
Is it this coming Monday?
Yeah, it's this coming Monday. And I'm trying to remember what time. I'm guessing without my calendar right now.
Oh, and we'll have our new microphones by then.
Yeah, we'll have new microphones to test out there. So make sure you're following Vegan Knowledge so that you can come and hang out with us there. I'll put it up in the newsletter, and I'll put it over on Heartbeat too. Could you make popcorn with seasonings instead of salt? Yeah, air popcorn. Use notch for butter salt replacer. So like with the butter replacement that we're using and the salt replacement, honestly, is the pickle juice. It makes it taste slightly salty without adding too much salt. But you can, and there are a couple things you can do. If you air pop popcorn, the problem is things don't stick to it. Mm-hmm. So you can either spray some aquafaba on there and then toss it with your seasoning blend. You can spray some Bragg's aminos, and you could spray some pickle juice if you're okay with having the salt in the pickle juice. But another thing, and maybe we'll try this, because the pickle juice, I mean, it makes kind of a black sticky thing on the bottom that washes up better than you think it's going to.
Yeah.
But we probably could even try putting like a seasoning blend in there. Like we could put some extra dill, or maybe we could also try just popping it in apple cider vinegar. And do like dill, salt, and vinegar popcorn. And so maybe we'll try something like that.
Dill pickle chips. Okay.
So there's some other stuff, so we'll try that. Oh, you're just so sweet. It was so. Here we go. It's at 11:13. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's Monday. Next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be hanging out over there and just talking about. Oh, nooch. Okay, got it. So what I read was the little notch, like the little thing that's in the air popper. That's right.
Butter in. And I was like, that's an interesting idea. It would just kind of fall in as it was popping. That would kind of be interesting,
But then I worry how much stuff goes inside those air poppers. That's what I kind of like this. And I got this at Ross's. We got it for like, what, $6? Yeah. They're usually like $30
It was
online.
$6.99, I think.
So look at Ross's. Ross's has been having some good stuff.
I got one of those Cuisinart
silicone collapsible ones.
And the silicone one didn't work as well with the dill pickle stuff. The popcorn kind of got weird. But with this, I think it keeps it too wet in that silicone. With this, it vents out with the glass. So.
Yeah, that's very possible. But we're still experimenting with some of this. Oh, you use the glass popcorn pop for microwave too. Yeah, the dill pickle juice is awesome. If you're on an SOS-free diet, I think I would try just the vinegar, apple cider vinegar or white vinegar, and put your spices in there, because it'll be interesting to see if it works. I don't know at this point if it would stick on or not. It's just a hypothesis. Do you guys have any questions? I know I was going to go over some other stuff, but I'm starting to get hungry.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry too.
But let's see. That didn't help. Elizabeth sent me some good things to go over, and I don't think I went over any of them.
Let me move these out of the way.
How to keep things simple, like mix and match starches with other veggies and legumes. I think that's being prepared, what it looks like for us. I think we did that. And I think we talked about how to be flexible and not add extra stress to life over food. And I think there's two ways that we kind of mentioned doing that. One is by having some food cooked. And if I knew that something was going to happen, and because you can't freeze cooked potatoes, really. That's the one thing that you could freeze cook sweet potatoes. So if I knew something was going to happen, let's say something was going to take me out of the cooking game for a whole week, I would cook up some rice and put in the freezer, some chili, a couple of soups, to where I could just take it out of the freezer and put them in. If we grab one of those containers, those soup containers over next to you. So I have a bunch of these containers. I don't know if you sorry. And you can get these cheap, like at the thrift stores too, but this has like a plastic lid. So I would put a bunch of soups or stews and just have it in there, so that if I knew maybe I wasn't going to feel well, I could just take this out and put it, something that goes straight from the freezer to the microwave is something we could do too. But I think one of the things is just mostly just, if you have your mind about you and the gift of time to think ahead, if you know something's going to happen, like, oh, I know I'm going to have a doctor's appointment or a surgery or a procedure, then you can kind of try to put things up. But let's say, oh, I got the flu, right? You can't go pre-plan to get the flu. But what you can do if you feel well right now is get at least a few days worth of meals in the freezer. So if you don't feel good and you can't get somebody else to feed you, that you can at least have some soup. I really try to put a lot of soup in the freezer, even just for days that maybe we're not sick, but we're sick in the head. When we just are like, this has been a really hard day and I just can't think of anything and I can't possibly go in the kitchen and make anything, which were danger zones for us before. That would be like ordering.
Yeah, before I would have already been on Grubhub waiting for the guy to get here. So.
Right. And so then all you have to do, it's even easier to grab 2 of these and put them in the microwave, or First Seed Foods. I mean, we really have liked it. I bought it again before we became an affiliate for it, and I love the idea that we could have Indian food that was oil-free, and they have a salt-free version as well, that we could just have as our backups like that. And like yesterday when I wasn't feeling so great,
I fixed some.
She just fixed some and brought dinner over, and it was just a beautiful thing. Don't have the money for that. That one leftover serving of stew, put it over rice and put it in the freezer. That's all you have to do. So you don't have to have money to prepare, right? As long as you just have a little bit of leftovers or make a double batch of something. See, I'm losing my voice again already.
Yeah.
And I've hardly been talking. Do I have a homemade chicken nugget I can make with Willow, who's 8? I did have one. I'm trying to think. I think it's in the Great Vegan Bean book where I made a chicken patty. There is wheat gluten in it. And chickpeas. And if you email me, I will send you that recipe. And if you can't have wheat gluten, tell me that, and then maybe we'll make up one. Because I was thinking of making up one with just like
I love nuggies.
I could make some with chickpeas and jackfruit and a crispy coating, and you would be really happy.
I don't always like jackfruit though.
Now it's just going to make it tear and look like the texture.
Okay.
You don't like it because it doesn't have a big enough taste for you, usually.
I don't always like the texture of it. It depends what it's in.
Exactly. But you like it when I do the barbecue thing.
Yeah, I like it when it's barbecue.
So Diana, email me. And, Lydia. Okay. It's Lydia, and I will do my best. Cheryl is more likely to remember, and you may have to remember me. Remind me. See, the brain slowly unravels. This is why we do lives during the day most of the time. The later it is, the harder it is for me to word in the world.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, maybe we should switch it up some. It looks like a lot of people came to hang out with us. Yeah. So you guys let us know too. Would you like us to try some different times, or is like 1 o'clock? I feel like now, usually it's good to start, when you start a show, to start at the same time and day so people know when to show up. Aspie Tree aspetry. And I'm sorry, I'm butchering that probably. I put a microwave plastic bowl and lid, and I think I'm not supposed to put liquid in it.
For popcorn.
Yeah, and I
just going to depend on the brand. Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't know. Oh, Lydia, no one was thinking that you were just trying to get followers and that's why you're hanging out. You're part of the conversation, and we all have different names for coming into things. So don't worry about that at all. And see, I love my sweet people too, and you're one of them. Oh, ooh, I got you already. Soy curls, go to healthyslowcooking.com and look up soy curls. I have a whole bunch of recipes. I love soy curls, just personally. They're non-GMO soybeans that are cooked, smashed, and extruded. So depending on your eating plan, that may be okay with you and may not be. To me, it's the cleanest meat substitute. So I like to make chicken and dumplings. Actually, I was thinking of making chicken soup with them. But I do have some air fried, I think I call it Southern fried soy curls in there, but if you can find it. Mona likes the evenings, so maybe we'll start doing that.
Shake it up some, maybe every other week, something.
And Diana says it's 5. I know it's like 6:45 here, and then we're not seeing CJ, who's in Scotland. That's the only thing, is we cut off some of the people who are in Europe.
Well, that's why I said we could do every other week, maybe.
Yeah, I think that. And Lydia says soy curls are some of my favorite vegan recipes. Jack loves soy curls too.
Oh,
and Nordic Wear from Target. That's not the one you got, I don't think.
No, I got a Cuisinart.
So I just don't know. I don't know. This is our very first one that we got to do that. So we're still experimenting and kind of novices. Just gain an hour. Okay. Okay, so what else did I don't know why I'm making up. See, this is also what happens to me when I get overwhelmed and it gets late and tired. Like, my brain sings me little songs. I've been doing that a lot more, haven't I?
Yes.
I don't even notice that I'm doing it.
And the talking to yourself in the kitchen. Like, I think you were talking to vegetables the other day.
I would not doubt it one tiny little bit. I talked to my car. Yeah. So I drove home last night. Like, I went out to kind of give myself a little bit of space. So I came home and I drove at night. Cheryl she loves to drive, so she's always driving. I haven't driven at night in a long time. And so then, you know how your car will remind you to turn off your lights, and I always say, thank you. That was so nice. And then it goes, see ya. And I'm like, bye, car. See you soon. So I do talk to inanimate objects all the time. And a friend of mine had said, when Rob borrowed the car the first time, he goes, of course your car says, see you later. As a greeting. Okay, so let me see if I can do this without singing another theme song.
So Guy says it sounds like you have too many projects.
I totally have too many projects. And one of my goals, I will state this out in all of humanity, into fact now, one of my goals for 2024 is by the end of first quarter, I have all my projects planned out for all 4 quarters. Because what I do is I just go, I need to do something else. And I go and I do it. And so I'm going to try to plan in advance. At least I'm going to hopefully have 1 project per quarter. 1 extracurricular project. So that still means I'm blogging and YouTubing and all that. But 1 ebook or 1 special something, bundle or new course thing that I'm going to do. That doesn't count Kathy's Cooking Club. It's 2 classes a month forever. So that's always rolling on along with YouTube, blogging.
Lots of stuff.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to take a deep breath and go on. Lydia says I use my Vitamix for vegan sauce and soup more. It's okay. We sing with you, Kathy. Lydia, thank you. I think it's because I was a musician, and like literally for most of my life, I've been practicing etudes all the time. So if I'm not practicing them, I would hear them in my head. And I know when I get bored at the store, or if I'm trying to cut out a noise, I start hearing some weird etude that I did a bazillion years ago. Oh, and Astri from Sacramento. It's Sarah from Sacramento. Oh, Sarah. Okay, I know you. So it's Aspie Tree. That's a cute name. Oh, and I'm so glad that you came and hung out with me. Sarah, I got to meet Sarah in Sacramento. And we had lunch and we saw stuff at Chef AJ's. She's lovely. And songs and talking to things, right? Sometimes you can tell they just need, they tell me where they want to be. I might as well say something nice back to them.
Oh. Wow.
We all multitask, and I totally understand. I play guitar, but my voice, I don't know. No, I'm not a singer. No. I'm not a singer. That's not something I think I'm good at or anything. I just feel like la 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 la.
She doesn't always know the words either.
No, I don't make up stuff.
She'll make up new words to songs.
Because why not? Why not, right? So, with the holidays coming up, we'll end with this last little bit because it's kind of funny because I was like, hey, Elizabeth, I'm going to be talking about making things simple. Want me to go to live in your group too? She's like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, scrap that. Let's talk about our innermost workings. I'm sorry, Elizabeth. It was not an on-purpose bait and switch. But talking about how there's value in fellowship with friends. And I think with the holidays, that's very important because as we've been a little bit over full, I was kind of like, I want to spend Thanksgiving alone under the covers in the bed. And then then I got, okay, under the covers in the bed with Cheryl and the dog. So I got that. And it's like, and then finally I was like, so do you guys want to do Thanksgiving, the friends that we did Thanksgiving with last year? Because it's not a big to-do. We just we live very close. We get some stuff together, and then we just hang out and play games. And I think that works out pretty well. But I think, and we're going to talk more about this as the month goes on, and we're going to go live I've got to decide what time, but we're going to go live on Thanksgiving as well because it's a hard time. It's hard to be vegan sometimes during Thanksgiving with navigating family and friends. It's hard to be on plan, whatever your plan is, right? Because you're at somebody else's house and they're not on your plan. And sometimes it's okay just to eat beforehand. Go there, visit with the people, make yourself a nice, super cool herbal tea to share. Maybe bring a dessert. I may make the dessert. I'm making this dessert in another class, but I made it my October Thanksgiving class where I cooked sweet potatoes, and then one was really big, and so I made it in the shape of a pie crust, and I put date sauteed apples on top of that, and you could put nuts or crumble or just leave it like it was, and put a little cinnamon like I did, and cut it in slices, or even just cut it in little squares and bring that. So eat the salad that you brought or the soup you brought, have a little bit of dessert and fellowship. And it's okay. Just make sure you get yours first. We talked about that with Lisa because they will take it all. You brought the only soup you can eat. Get your bowl out and then put it on the table for everyone else to share.
They will eat it. They'll be like, oh, soup, let me eat that. And then they don't even think about the fact that you can't eat anything else.
Right. And they're not understanding because even some people who've been like, I've read all the starch solution materials. Can I have beans? Right? Sometimes the little synapses don't fire in my brain either. Or Cheryl, I'm sure I ask you dumb questions. Or questions that I probably know better of. I know the answer to.
I don't know. I don't really.
Well, that didn't work out my explanation. She does it.
I do it all the
You
time.
do it all the time. And I'm like, ask that question again. So, like, what sometimes people just don't think about. They're just going through the Thanksgiving line, and there's lots of food, so they're not trying to go against you or anything. And if you're not having this serious, health issue, if someone brings out some tofu for you and you're not allergic to soy, maybe, if everything else about it is okay, then eat it. Like I think, were you there with me, or was that before we were together when someone made cut up plain tofu for me? I think we were together.
Yeah.
I will not mention a name because it came from a place of love. Mm-hmm. There was no sauce to put on it. There was nothing. It was cold cut up block of tofu.
It's the thought that
counts. And sometimes it is the thought that counts. And you know what? I choked some of that down because it was bought for me and I was going to eat some of it. Now, if Cheryl just did that, I'd be like, here's how we're going to make this, right? Because we would be in my I usually own the kitchen. Yeah. She comes into the kitchen some. There are other places that are more yours. But you just gotta do the best you can in those situations. And sometimes if someone bought you a vegan cookie, and maybe you're not doing oil, either you save it for later and give it to a friend. There's just all different kinds of things to do, and just try to do the best you can for yourself and for everybody else around you. Like telling them you need to go vegan and showing them pictures, that's probably not going to help, especially on Thanksgiving, where people are just coming together to see you and catch up with what's going on with you. Yeah. So I think that covers the things that we were going to cover. Oh, Jill's in her first live. Yay. That's awesome. We're so glad that you're here and hanging out with us. Mm-hmm. All right, so finish up these questions. Aw, thanks, Facebook user. I don't have your name, or I would call you out for being so sweet. Fellowship is everything, and it really, really is. Oh, and Lydia's saying, I bought tofutti roast first time for Thanksgiving, and it was $14.99 before taxes. Probably I could make it, but just work a lot. And then my YouTube channel was busy. Yeah. And, I'll definitely come join you for Thanksgiving. That will be really, really fun.
Yeah.
And I think the thing is, like, Tofurkey, and people have all kinds of opinions about it. Is it processed? Yes. If you don't have a serious health issue and you eat Tofurkey on Thanksgiving once a year, it's probably not going to be a big deal. But again, if you have a serious health issue, I'm a recipe developer, not a doctor. Follow your doctor's orders. But like, I'm going to be making a Tofurkey for Cheryl. I haven't been able to eat it for several years because I was having trouble with gluten. But since I've been eating starch solution, I've been able to have some wheat in my diet. So I might try a little bit and see what happens. For me, what happens is a couple of my joints swell. So it's not like debilitating. So if you have a debilitating wheat allergy, don't just try it again.
I love Tofurkey. I liked Tofurkey before I even became vegan. I liked it.
But it makes you so happy to open up that box.
Yeah.
It really does. And I'll make you a nice gravy to go over it. And we have all the other things.
I want dressing.
Okay.
Can we make a dressing?
Yeah. Yeah, we can make some dressing for sure.
I just feel like it's one of those things that you have to have oil for or something.
No, but we will need to probably get some no oil bread and let it get stale and make it from that instead of making it from a mix like you usually do, because there is some vegan one though. I'll check about oil. I don't think I've checked for a while.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Glow. I'm glad you're saying hi. You're listening while you're cooking. I wish I could eat what you're cooking because we were not planning on a 2-hour live.
No.
I'm really
and
hungry.
Our mics will probably die soon,
Okay.
so we should probably get moving.
I don't have a baklava vegan recipe, but I know they exist out there. Ooh, I make my own vegan honey with grapes.
Oh my!
Well,
we
then.
might need to know about that.
Yeah, we need for you to email this.
We've had the ones made with sunflowers. Is it sunflower that they make it out of?
Clover. No, and it no. What am I trying to think of?
The guys from South Carolina.
They use clover, and I don't know if I have a jar. Oh, I do have the jar. It's because it's too late. Ooh, my ankle's doing a weird thing.
Dandelion, that's it.
Dandelion. And then they had some that's made with clover too, to kind of give it that taste. Those do have sugar in them. And then and thank you, Barbara. We really appreciate being in your life very much. And Delia's saying, how do you make a tofurkey? You can make some different stuff. So like tofurkey is a product that you buy. It is a processed roast with stuffing inside of it that is vegan. It is not whole food plant-based. So you decide if that's something you're okay including sometimes. But there's different ways you can do it. Miyoko has a way to make kind of a stuffed thing and uses yuba to kind of make it look like skin and stuff, which may creep some people out, but yuba is a delicious thing, no matter how it's used. So I would look up how to make a tofurkey, and you'll either get recipes on how to cook a tofurkey or how to make it from scratch, homemade. Awesome. I think that's about it for us. I think, yeah, but you can make the roast yourself. You have yuba. Yeah, yuba is really, really nice. Oh, yep. Kitty Mama, if you want gluten-free stuffing, use Little Northern Bakehouse bread. It is really, really good.
Oh, yeah, that's that one.
That's gluten-free.
From Sprouts. Yeah.
It's a little expensive. It's like $8 or $9 a loaf. But sometimes Dave's bread is that way. Ezekiel bread. We found some Bargain Basement Ezekiel bread.
Dave's bread all has oil in it right now.
I think we found,
there was one that didn't.
One that was an Aldi's copycat of Dave's bread. So in Aldi's, we found some no oil whole grain bread that was suitable for us, for sure. Yeah. Ooh, apple chips, apple baklava, if you like. And she uses apple chips. That's making me think really hard. Sorry.
Now your creative brain's kicking in.
I know, and I'm like, and I need to feed the beast before anything else happens. Feed my little beast. Don't feed this guy. And so I don't know if you guys see this. I don't think you can see it. This is one of my favorite shirts because I think it's so silly. It says, I'm practicing dark arts and crafts. And it's got a cute little kitty.
I got on a hand-me-down shirt from Kathy.
Oh, you can show the back. This is Gideon's. Only has vegan iced coffee. And that's it. But they have an artist that does some really cool kind of gothic designs that we like. But thanks you guys so much for hanging out with us while we were just chatting. And obviously coming down from our little meltdowns and our hard days at work. But it's really wonderful that you guys were hanging out with us. And we send you all the love and hugs.
And thank you for making us feel better.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And we appreciate you. And if you've been having a bad day and you're like, what? Think about something you appreciate, something that you're grateful for. Even if it's just that you have some food to heat up or you know where you can get some food that fits in your diet. It could also be that your nose is less stuffy than it was yesterday. Take anything. And make it something that you remember.
Yeah. And if you need to get in touch with us, we can always be reached at support@healthyslowcooking.com.
And Kathy Hester at gmail.com. Apple, you're awesome. It was wonderful to see you. Lots of love back to you. And everybody have a good night. Eat on your plan if you can. Be kind to yourself even if you don't want to. Do it because I said so. That's the only thing I will bully you a little bit about is be nice to yourself. Giving you the mom look.
Yeah.
And I'm giving me the mom look, if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah.
And oh, it was so much fun hanging out with you guys. All right. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I'm going to have Dr. Stephanie Peacock on. We are going to talk, I think, more about fasting. If you're interested in that, you can ask her other questions. She's kind of an expert in like non-toxic living, but she also lives in the world. So she's not going to say, get rid of everything you got. She's going to say, pick your battles. And so I like her for that. And I think she's just really awesome. Yeah.
I like her.
So come hang out with us then. And then on Thursday at 1 o'clock, Lisa Rice will be on and we'll be having our big chat and about all the things. So you can come ask questions there too. Is that 4 East? So yeah, it's in Eastern time. So tomorrow is at 1, both days, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Wednesday and Thursday. That's typically when the shows do run. Okay? Have amazing, amazing night. And if you can't do that, just take a deep breath, have some warm water with lemon or herbal tea, and do something just quiet and nice that you enjoy. Anything else?
Oh, no, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Sleep well, you guys.